Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I am joined as always by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. How you doing, Matt?
Dawn, I'm great. I'm so happy to see you. It's been an extra long time this time around. I think 3 weeks since we last saw each other, I think.
3 long weeks. And so
3
much
very long weeks. Dawn, it's been a lot in these 3 weeks. A lot has happened. Number one, I have this cold that's setting in. Hopefully it's not going to affect my voice. Hopefully I don't sound too weird tonight. I mean, I could have done it all like this. Could have done like John Burden's voice tonight. Blue 58. So I wish I could do that voice, man. His voice is the best. But you may have seen on social media that I got a new job at the University of Cincinnati. So now I will be here's the thing, before I say what I'm going to be, higher ed titles, way too many words. All right. So I'm going to be the Associate Director of Retention in the College of Arts and Sciences at the University of Cincinnati. Woof. So what it really means is like helping students be more successful and persist to graduation. So I'm just super pumped about that. Started the job this week and it's going well so far. So it's funny too, because without trying to throw my colleagues under the bus, the unit I left, all this drama set in this week. So it's like, I just dodged that. Not drama I caused, not drama I have anything to do with, but it's like, whoop, just missed that one. So good timing. And then apart from that, of course, just digging into the new players we have on the roster, plus of course the schedule reveal. So much has happened in these last weeks, Dawn. So tell me, how are you doing? How have you been? And we'll talk about a lot of these things, I'm sure, as we're going. So how are you?
I know, right? So I thank you for putting up with me again last week. I had the cold last week and bronchitis. Hopefully my voice is okay now. I'm on the other end of it. And you know what? For anyone who's getting these summer colds, including you, because you just mentioned it, oregano oil. Okay. Usually when I get a cold, I'm usually sick for 2 months, like really sick, not just like, I've got a sniffle. I'm down. So I tried something new where I just kept with this oregano oil spray thing, because as soon as my throat started getting sore, and I just kept like sniffing it, and because my throat was so sore and all that, and it shortened my bronchitis and it made it much more manageable. I wear it's the oregano oil.
Huffing oregano. Okay.
The other thing you can do if you don't do the nasal spray, because I know some people don't love that. That's why you're tuned into us, right, for these kinds of things. You just get oregano oil, essential oil, and just get put a pot of steam on your stove and drop some drops in. And I did that when I got it in my chest. I was like inhaling it from my mouth, and wow, I swear, because I thought, I was really sick. I thought, I'm going to be sick for 2 months now, and been like,
killed it with oregano.
Oregano's great. Natural antibacterial. Hi, sorry, it's my fault. I'm always sick. Mark,
hey, good to see you, man. Joe, you too. True North. Thanks for being here, guys. Love having you. So, Don, if oregano is that potent and that effective, if I'm just eating pizza with oregano, does that do the same thing? Is that going to work, or
you'd have to use the essential? Just put some essential oils.
Use the essential oil. I just need some extra. Pizza.
Because it's concentrated. You'd have to have so much oregano, and the idea too is also like inhaling it to get it all. I
inhale pizza, so there it is. All right, so.
Believe me, I've thought of that. So, but you could, I could see putting a little bit of essential oils, oregano on your pizza.
It would probably taste good.
It would taste very good. Now, just a warning, it burns. Like if you just take a little bit on your tongue, which a lot of people do, people do it. It is strong. It is an essential oil form. in that form. So it might burn a bit. But yeah.
Interesting. Huh. We got a question from Mark in the chat here. Mark's asking, how pumped is Matt that the Packers drafted a Bearcat? I didn't know John Williams at all when he was here. He wasn't one of the students I worked with. And in fact, it used to be the case that the student athletes at UC would work with like their standard their standard academic advisors. It's become more streamlined for the, specifically football and basketball players, where they really just meet with like their athletic advisor, who's kind of like their handlers in some ways. That sounds almost negative, but I don't mean it that way. Those people are amazing. They do a lot of work to keep the student athletes, grades good, so they comply with NCAA regulations for eligibility. They do great work, but as a result, we don't really see some of those athletes anymore. But that does remind me, though, that I've told this story before on the show here, but just real quickly, I was there for Sauce Gardner's orientation day, because he started in the major that I was working with before my new promotion. And I remember this because we'd read off the students' names, say, okay, these students are going with this advisor, these students are going with this advisor. We break into small groups. Got his name, Ahmad Gardner. He goes, it's Sauce. We're like, what? He goes, my name's Sauce. We're like, okay, Ahmad, whatever, man. Little did we know he was able to like back that up with his juice, with his sauce on the field. So I was like, all right, man, respect on that name.
I remember that story. It was like a couple years ago that he got drafted, right? Wasn't it? Mm-hmm. He just got drafted 2 years ago, or was it 1 year?
2, 3, 4. Where does the time go? I don't know, but
where does it go? Iowa Joe says Matt's going to go to Costco and get a mega tub of dried.
Let's get a funnel. Get a funnel just right in there, just straight mainlining the oregano.
If you were desperate, okay, you could take like a lot oregano leaves and boil them in water and inhale that.
Like a tea.
Yeah. I think
this week
there
on
is
oregano
tea also.
Probably.
But I'm pretty sure. So last time we were together, Matt, it was the night, it was draft night. But Packers hadn't made their pick yet.
Right. It was almost time for it. So how are you feeling about the picks, Dawn?
Oh man. Well, first of all, that was just so emotional. Draft for the whole weekend. I watched every minute of it. I did. I watched every stinking minute of it. And and then getting Matthew Golden, getting a wide receiver like that. Having
the way Mark Murphy announced it was so perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. The way Mark
highlight reel for the future.
Was just perfection for a Packers fan, for sure.
Absolutely.
And the way they pulled the whole weekend off, the whole 3-day draft experience. They've had nothing but glowing reviews from everybody that was there.
Yeah. Proud of our team and for pulling that off so well. And of course, don't forget the best story of the weekend, Baron Sorrell. I love this guy. If he is half as good as we all hope he will be, he's going to sell some jerseys, I think,
That was so cool. Now they insist that when they drafted him that they didn't know he was in the building. And by all accounts, they'd have to be really good liars, because they were talking about how they were all like, what? He's in the building. And then they were watching from the draft room, him going out into the sea of people like that, and then doing the Lambeau leap. So they got him in, and that was just such an initiation for a new team member.
Yeah.
And
to get to do the press conference there live and how emotional it was.
Oh gosh.
Man, it was good.
I know. So the draft was great. So as you know, I don't love all that talk about wide receiver 1, but I was looking, we have like 8 wide receivers on the, obviously they're not all staying, but So I was just looking at this. We've got Nicole Hardman, who came in during free agency. And then Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, Julian Hicks, Cornelius Johnson, Bo Melton, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Malik Heath, I forgot about Malik. How do you? I mean, it's just
I
there's
know.
so many.
There's so many. There's so many.
And then Romeo and Christian too, who are so good. Like I don't even want to hear about. I love the idea that the Packers are going to have so many wide receivers that are good enough where teams don't know who they're going to throw to.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's such an advantage.
Yeah. It's exciting.
So, oh man, I wonder who's going to not make it though, because that's a lot. What was that, 8?
I think it was listed off 8. Yeah, and the thing is, of course, there was some frustration, I think, with some of the wide receivers in the second half of in the second half of the season. So hopefully, like having the young blood in there will make the older ones actually step up and play to their actual potential. That could be really exciting if that happens.
Right, and not be so injured. 12. I see 11.
Mark gives us and Jaden Yankee, who is that a name? Sorry. Oh, you did it. We both did it there. Oh, Don, we both did it together. There you go. Jaden Yankee, a name I think I've never seen before. So no, I remember actually seeing that up in like alerts on Twitter from like Bill Huber or someone. So yes, I have seen it. But
undrafted free agent, probably. Oh, yesterday.
Signed him yesterday. There we go. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that.
Okay. Well, my excuse is I was telling Matt prior to the show that I was completely involved yesterday and most of today putting together furniture. I am not qualified to do 2 huge wardrobes. And I don't think I mentioned to you, one of the first things I did was drop one of the boxes 150 pounds on my toe.
No. Oh, no. It's going to get gangrene and fall off now, Dawn.
It's going to fall off. It actually doesn't look that bad. Oh, from South Dakota. Nice. Was he?
Okay, right. No, I remember that. I remember the tweets about that. Yeah, Jaden Yankee, because they're talking about how it's like the 3rd guy from South Dakota State on the team now. That's right.
So was he an undrafted free agent? Was he an undrafted draft pick?
I think he was with a couple other teams last year. I think he bounced around a little bit last year.
Oh, okay.
And so I think it's the second year, if I remember correctly.
So now we have 12. Wow.
Ooh.
That's a lot.
So
half of them are going to get cut, right?
Not half, but a lot of them, I'm sure. Get some back in the practice squad, But yeah, we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting.
All right. So draft was fantastic. Loved all of of course, everyone's like, we're going to get a corner. We're going to get a corner. Where's the corner? And we finally got a corner back in the whatever. But yeah, anyway. What do you guys chat? What are you most excited about from the draft picks?
I mean, there's so many good ones that are really interesting. I mean, to see what Matthew Golden can do on the field, given what he, did at the end of his college career, is like really, tantalizing and a really exciting prospect. But if you watch any of the Savion Williams tape, like it's an experience. It is a roller coaster watching that guy. And so, if he can hit his ceiling, he's gonna be a crazy, amazing receiver. And he might not even scrape above his floor. It's hard to say. So who knows? That's gonna be really, really fascinating. But when they picked Escalade, in the second round, I was like, what are they doing here? But he's actually really impressive too. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of, and we probably feel this every year, I know, but I feel like there's just so much like promise and potential. I feel it stronger this year. But that could also be just, it's a recency. It's in my head more versus a year ago. The memories faded or whatever else. I don't know. I'm just really excited. And it's like, especially with the schedule release, it's like, I'm just so excited. I just want to see them play. I'm just so excited. I'm super, super pumped for it.
Well,
how about you, Don? How about you?
Mark says he's most excited about Golden and Williams. And Iowa Joe said he predicted Matthew Golden. I kind of thought it, but a lot of people were like, well, no, he's a flat receiver. But I don't know. What do I know? So go listen to the episode we released from the week of the draft. Oh, okay. I
do you guys, Ohana Packers Edition is a great podcast you should all be listening to. So I will verify and back up what Joe is saying there. Absolutely.
True North says he's kind of was bored with it and forgot most of the players' names.
Oh no, True North. Well, good news. There's a million resources out there with the deep dives into the different players.
Right.
I'll talk about. Well, let's talk about that one right now. This will be kind of an early superlative. Okay, Don.
Pretty superlative.
early appetizer superlative. So there are a lot of those out there. Dawn, which ones have you enjoyed the most? Do you have one you've gravitated towards most, like one person is doing them, one podcast, one whatever else?
I honestly have not listened to those on purpose.
Okay. On purpose.
Well, you know how I am. I'm so excited. And if I listen to them, I won't be able to like sleep at night. I'm so excited. And what I'm in compliment to what you were saying, I think we get more excited because this is now going to be Jordan Love's 3rd year with Matt LaFleur. We've seen the growing pains and the injuries and the promise of getting so close in the playoffs the last 2 years. I think in overall, what I am excited about is that it seems like these draft picks were done to make us win the championship, to position us so that we can win a championship. I think they always are, but I think the fact that some of us didn't quite understand, or a lot of people were predicting, they're going to, draft at this position, not that position first, and we're not going to get a wide receiver first and all that. I just overall, looking back at it, feel like this is an organization that is really fighting hard to win a championship, not just sell tickets, because sometimes you get that vibe from your own team and from other teams. You just kind of show up, collect the money because you can.
And not the Packers, never the Packers. Yeah.
No, and I'm buying into it 100%. So just overall, globally, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Gutekunst said like we need to have an urgency about this, and I agree. I think that you could read into taking more like players who are probably ready to go and don't need as much development as some of the players they tend to take. Lucas Van Ness, I'm looking at you. It seems more like let's get guys who we can plug and play as fast as possible. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, what else am I excited about? I could have taken notes, but I was too busy, being sick and then putting his furniture together. But how about if we start transitioning? Let me just see what else the chat has to say. So
I was going to say, right, because I'd asked you who you were checking out for like the deep dives and the players, right? So because I was going to go to
you didn't finish.
My first superlative is actually so many good ones. But the one that I kept coming back to that I felt was like the most informative for me and the easiest to digest was Andy Herman's, the solo ones he was doing on YouTube, the deep dives into the players. I appreciated them because a thing that he does well in this kind of content, is he'll put some numbers out there, but not too many, because if people hit too many numbers, it gets overwhelming and you kind of lose, the thread. I mean, I do, at least. I shouldn't say everyone does. I do. But he has just enough in there. He does a good job of painting a picture of what the player is like on the field, and if he can, off the field to some degree. He's good at communicating really clearly in a way that I feel like I need to aspire to better myself, actually, because sometimes I get all tripped in my words and stuff, Yeah, no, his have been really clutch for this. But I would say, honorable mention would go to the Father Son Packers podcast, because they go a little more in depth with a lot of the numbers, like they tend to, which has been really fascinating.
Yeah.
But but just giving the edge slightly to Andy Herman for best work on the deep dives on the new players. So that's my actual my early first superlative for the night.
That's already on my playlist. I will add Father and Son. Thank you for that. And then just before we transition to the full-blown one, I like these 2 comments. Iowa Joe says it really positions themselves. This is Green Bay, of course. Watson will be out until probably Halloween. I wondered about that. And he and Dobbs are free agents next year, so it puts pressure on Wicks to improve. I hope Dobbs is fully healthy. I do worry about all those concussions. That really bothers me. I love him. I think he's just fantastic. I mean, I hope we can have a good season with him. I didn't realize Watson was going to be out that long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize it was. So True North says, I do like that the Packers are remaking the O-line with bigger dudes to bulldoze guys. Yes.
I like that too. Yeah, I'm on both sides of the trench, I feel like they're just getting some big dudes in there. So I'm excited to see what they can do with that. Kind of feels like the league is like looking at what the Eagles did, and trying to emulate that to some degree. And so, yeah, I'm excited for that very much so.
I was looking at the heights of the wide receivers. So Matthew Golden, 5'11", not super tall.
Right.
Nicole Hardman, which we don't know what's going to happen with him, 5'10". And then Bo Melton and Jaden Reed are both 5'11". But other than those four, they're all from 6'2" to 6'4".
Yeah.
So taller.
It's a good mix. Dude. It's a good mix. Yeah.
It is. It is. Fast and little is our Matthew Golden. So how about I think so. I mean, sorry, they didn't mean to be insulting in any way, but
no. Well, don't. I feel like you're trying to transition to superlatives. I'm going to pause you there for a second, okay? We should talk about the schedule release videos. Did you see many of them? Did you watch the Packers
that was
one?
The other thing. No, I just spaced out. Yes. The schedule. That was my question to you. Oh my gosh. So how do you feel about the schedule in general?
I mean, there's a lot of things that are kind of like dumb and annoying, but I think probably every team is going to have dumb, annoying parts in the schedule that we could all complain about. So it's like, why bother complaining then? I don't know. I've been looking at like what game do I want to go up for? Because I'm definitely going to go up for a game.
That was my question. Yep.
So this will be my 4th season, going to see a game in Lambeau. But I am kind of like, should I go over to Pittsburgh? Because that's not a very long drive. It's like a 4-hour drive from Cincinnati, I think. 4 to 6, somewhere in that range. So, I mean, it's closer than Wisconsin. Could I do both? We have family in Pittsburgh, my wife does specifically, who are really wonderful, welcoming people. So, I could easily stay with them because that could be a really fun game. But if I go up, I don't know. I haven't decided yet because it's that whole thing. It's like some of the games I would really want to see are when it's going to be potentially really cold, which, I can handle it, but I don't necessarily want to have to handle it. You know what I mean? So I know I have to figure it out and I got to strategize here and see who's going to what games and stuff like that too. So Dawn, I know, of course, with all your health stuff, you're probably not going to make it out for a game, or are you? Am I wrong? What are you thinking?
I mean, I have a few more things to go through yet before I can even think about that. Sure. I really would like to. And I, of course, would like to see my mother. Yeah. Because I haven't visited her since like a year and a half. So, yeah. So there was one game. Oh, I don't have my phone. There was one game I thought would be, or I think October 12th. Did you have the schedule in front of you?
Keep talking. I'll get
yeah. I think it's October 12th. I'm like, ooh, that one. Okay, here it is. So who is that? Oh, the Bengals.
I was thinking that'd be a fun one to go to. It would be the 3rd time I've seen these two teams play each other because they did a preseason game here. In addition to the one 4 years ago, the game where both the kickers kept missing field goals at the end, like back and forth, like 5 or 6 times. That was a wild game to sit there watch, in real life. That was a super hot day actually, but my dad came down for that. It was a lot of fun. But anyhow, sorry, I just got like spitting off words there. But so if I say that would be a fun game to go up for, definitely.
That would be a fun one. The Cardinals are the week after, so I have to, of course, go when it's reasonably nice out because I can't handle a 10-degree fluctuation from where I live or I die. So, so we're looking at September, October, and I like coming back to Wisconsin during the fall colors. So usually I'm looking. So the Bengals and the Cardinals and the Steelers. So the Steelers are a Sunday night football game.
Well, so the Cardinals and the Steelers are both away games, though. So unless you're going to go to, but going to Arizona, that's closer for you. I mean.
That's true. An Arizona game could be fun.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Think about that one, that could be a fun game.
Yeah.
Go hang out with Monty and Tyler, both live out there.
Yes. I'm going to check out Monty's, that bar he goes to with all those fantastic cocktails.
I think there's a few he goes to, but yes, absolutely. He's got some good ones in the roster there. That's for sure.
Yeah, so home for September is the Lions and the Commanders, and then nothing home until the Bengals.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a really long stretch, actually, isn't it? It's like a month where they don't have a home game. That's crazy.
Well, they have 2 games away and then a bye week with an early bye. What do you think about this early of a bye?
I've heard a couple people try to like spin it positively, which I definitely, you know, of course I appreciate that. So I like the ideas of like, well, you get a month in, you get a chance to self-scout and like make some corrections early on. I like that idea. I like the idea of like shoot, there's another one that was really good, and now it's just escaped me. It was the one that I think Justice Mosqueda or maybe Aaron Nagler had put out there, and I can't think of what it was. But there's good ways, you know, to look at them for sure. I'm pretty sure Matt LaFleur doesn't like having a bye that early. I think if I were a coach, I would not either. I get it. But I know the other thing is that, you know, since we're playing the Broncos, you know, at their stadium, a mile up in the sky, apparently, if you're playing there earlier in the year, it's even more of an advantage for the Broncos to be at that high altitude. I don't know exactly why that is. I need to know, like, you know, educate myself on why that'd be more of an advantage when it's warmer. But you know, having the bye earlier means more of a chance we play them later, which we do. We play them in week 15. So hopefully that elevation advantage they have isn't as big of a thing that will, you know, hurt the Packers when they play them. So that's kind of another way to spin it. And then Mark points out that they do have 2 mini buys as well. You know, it's not exactly common. So yeah, there's some good stuff in there. And like I said, you know, the way at the beginning, like we can complain about all the little things in there, but every team's going to have little things to complain about. And there's things that we have that are like working well for us as well. So like the rest differential, you know, there's look at like how many days of rest each team has before each game compared to like their opponent that week. And Green Bay is almost even. So it's like, okay, you know, that's not working against us. And it has sometimes. But yeah, I mean, more than anything, I'm excited about it. But Don, how about the release videos? Did you watch any of those?
I did. And just on the Broncos in the winter, it's because there's more moisture in the air.
Okay.
Right. So but teams still have to deal with playing in altitude if they're not used to it. So hopefully I'm sure they do altitude training for a while. So, yeah. I mean, altitude training is good even if you're not playing in an altitude, because when you train in altitude and then you play, you know, sea level or close to that, your body is just so much more conditioned.
Oh yeah, I bet.
So, yeah, I've done that. So, but yeah. So I was like, go to the Broncos for a game. No, that would be Colorado in December. But it's not cold like it is in Wisconsin, and their winters are a little different. But that would be kind of a hassle. Holidays and all those.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah, I'm just still fixated on the. Well, I only watched the schedule release video from the Packers so far.
What did you think? What did you think? It's divisive.
Horrible. I loved it. I mean, last year's I thought was just so fun. And I don't think about last year's, but then when I saw this year's, I was like, oh yeah, that was really fun last year. Remember Jordan Love came in with the old fashioned, I don't even know what you call them anymore, thing projector to watch movies. And then they ran the film, like, remember him rolling it in to the.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved that Grassi was on it. Grassi was funny. And Mark Murphy, get the F off the field.
Yeah.
With Mark Murphy, and he's like,
I appreciate the gag joke there. Yep, love that.
I thought it was great. I thought it was inspired and creative. What did you think?
I was surprised at how like just unabashedly like bizarre it was. I was very surprised. I was like, this is what we're doing? Okay. So my first watch was, I watched it 3 times now. My first watch, I was like, what the hell is this? What is going on? But the second time I was like, okay, actually they're doing something. This is something really kind of different, because I mean, you got 32 teams. You have every year you're putting out a new video at this point, you know, because that's kind of like what they have to do, really, the social media teams. How do you do something new and original? This was new and original for sure, you know. And so the third time I watched it, then I was like, okay, I actually really like this. They really kind of cooked. And I mean, as Mark is pointing out here in the chat, they went full memes. There's all kinds of stuff from like,
Yes.
especially early internet. There's some vines and stuff like that they're referencing. So like, yeah, you have to know a little bit of um elder millennial culture, to get a
Yes.
lot of this stuff. I actually had to look up a thing or two in there, in fact. So like it was packed full of stuff in ways that I feel like they aren't always necessarily, but like stuff you gotta know your lore a little bit. So it was a lot of fun. I liked it. I had to warm into it, but I like it a lot now.
I immediately liked it. I was engaged and I was like, I was super excited about how creative and a little bit off the wall it was. Because probably because I'm an artist, I'm going to appreciate things that are a little weird, So I immediately was like, hat tip to the creatives who did that. I don't know who they were, but yeah, we'll have to ask Mike or Wes who was actually behind those. But I just thought it was really, really good. And
that's good.
A little bit tongue in cheek and, the dream inspiration. I thought it was cool. Yeah.
Well, of course, the Chargers social media team is kind of like they're the top. They're the apex predator, if you will, of these things. Theirs was actually. So you saw the Chargers one?
I did know. I haven't seen anyone else's, but I am gaga over Charles. But because I'm not on Twitter anymore, I don't.
Oh yeah, because you have to kind of go on Twitter to find a lot of these. That's true. That is true. I didn't think of that. I watched it on my phone last night. I was like, I need to actually watch this on a bigger screen because there's so many like little details, and you have to like just pause it, every couple of seconds to like see all the stuff. There's so much going on there. It's, classic, amazing trolling, super creative, really great. But the one that I was surprised was that was as trolling as it was the Titans one. I suppose you see that one, Dawn? So it's. Let me tell you about this. It totally they got me. They got me in that one, right? So it starts off like a advertisement for like a brand name, pharmaceutical, right? The kinds of ads we see a million of, every year, right? Yeah. Like Skyrizi or whatever else.
Yeah.
And so it starts off like that. And I was like, this is kind of cheesy. Like, I know the ads themselves are always cheesy. So like they're playing that up. I'm like, I don't know, this is okay. But the part where I was like, wait a minute, they're doing something here is, how like in those ads, it'll talk about like possible side effects for like the drug. And so it's like this ridiculous litany of like, whoa, geez, that could happen to you.
And they go really fast.
Yeah. So when they got to that part of it, each like symptom, they were showing like one of the different teams they were playing. So like associating each of those symptoms with like a different one of the teams, like diarrhea and like nausea. And like, it was like the quickest, most like stabbing troll I've ever seen happen before. It was like they just like went scorched earth for like 15 seconds in the middle of this like very harmless kind of the dorky video. So I was like, I did not see that coming. I did not. They took me by surprise there. Titans, well played.
Ooh, that's gonna be after the show too. I'm gonna do the Chargers and the Titans.
It's really good.
I wonder if the teams are hiring outside agencies to do these, or if they're doing it in-house. I'm just curious.
Good question.
I
wonder. That's a good question. I hadn't thought of that.
I hope not. At least I hope not for the Packers, because that'd be a dream. Like if you were on the creative team or in marketing or social media for the Packers, if I were, and it came time to do that, I'd be like, I've got ideas, right?
Yeah, totally.
And then they hire out these LA people. I'd be like, oh, come on, man. So hopefully, I have a feeling the Green Bay Packers are in-house because they respect, and you have to know the culture a little bit more. If you hired somebody from LA, it might be a little bit too jarring, probably be good, but not. Yeah. So fun. Super
well, and I would say, the Packers ones are never like super slick looking, which is not at all a knock against them. They don't look like somebody came in with like a big agency to make it look super polished, because some of them do look like that, which I don't necessarily is even a good thing.
Right.
Those look like they were made in house, and I love that about them.
Did you see what I'm talking about? I don't need superlatives tonight because there's so much to talk about. Did you see any of the NFL players that went to the Met Gala this year?
Yeah. Okay, can we talk about Joe Burrow for a second?
Yeah.
So, the Met Gala, we all know you gotta like really come correct with something really outlandish. Outrageous is a better word, I think, than outlandish. Something really outrageous and showy, right? And Joe
Yep.
Burrow, who has shown himself to be a man of very interesting, well-developed taste, he's wearing like this like super boring, like nothing suit. And I was just like, man, come on, Joe Burrow. You could have done so much better.
I saw it too. Like, what's up with Joe? Now, maybe okay, you know what the theme of the gala was this year, right?
Black exceptionalism. Is that what it was?
Super fine. Oh, I don't know if I had the words right. Dandyism, like modern style.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was like a nod to black tailoring.
Yeah.
So maybe I think what I heard, and I don't know if it's right or correct or not, but that a lot of the folks that weren't black didn't want to go all out. And,
like they're appropriating and like stepping into what wasn't theirs to step into. Okay, well,
which
if that's what it was,
I thought that.
Yeah, I can respect that.
Yeah,
if that's what it was, I can respect that.
Yeah, I thought that was like, boy, if that's true, I mad respect that. I don't know if that's true. Maybe he was having a bad week. I heard, and I didn't
do that.
Yeah. I heard Justin Jefferson's. Did you see Justin Jefferson's?
I did, and I can't think what it was. I can remember what Jalen Hurts's outfit looked like. He looked really good. I mean, he's a handsome fellow too.
Yes, he always looks good. I think he's good. I'm looking up Jefferson's right now because I was just listening to another podcast about something else, and they brought up. Oh, okay, here he is. Just a very nice, creative suit, like. A lot of intricate tailoring and not a typical suit. It has it's like a regular suit jacket, but a little bit shorter. And then it has almost like a cape sewn in under the collar, but it's not wild looking. It's a gray suit. I can't tell if it's pinstripe. I think it's got a very subtle pinstripe, like a gray. So it's well done. And then it has a flower arrangement out of fabrics. So the tailoring on his suit, I just know tailoring. So I know that.
Yes. Looking at it now.
Nice. Yeah. Really nice. He kind of annoys me, but that's well done.
What?
Jeff.
Hold on. Wait, pause right there, Don. What?
I know.
How does he annoy you? I love Justin Jefferson. I hate that he's on another team, but like, no, I think he's wow. We'll talk about this more later.
I don't know why. I don't know why. He does have
a really nice dude. I don't know.
I can't remember because I haven't seen him lately because we're off season.
Sure,
but I'll let you know next time I see him what annoys me.
There you go. Yeah, think about it. Ruminate, percolate.
Maybe I don't want to. One of the reasons I've been preoccupied the last couple of weeks is because there's a trial that a lot of people are watching. It's a retrial from one from last year that I talked about. And the reason I bring that up is because not only does that take a lot of time to have that on and like focusing, and even though I'm trying to do other things, but it makes me angry. It's a trial that shouldn't be a trial. The person who's been charged is overcharged. She shouldn't be charged with these things. And she's been taken to trial once. There was a mistrial. And then the judge botched it. It really wasn't a mistrial. The jury said not guilty. There were 3 counts. They said not guilty, and just hung on 1 count. They couldn't decide, they couldn't get, because it has to be unanimous. Anonymous. It has to be anonymous. Anyway, and so the judge didn't clarify that. They all left. And then the jury started contacting the lawyers and were like, hey, no, she's not guilty on these 2 charges. And so in the United States, you can't recharge somebody if they're found not guilty. It's called double jeopardy. It's in the Constitution. Yeah, it's an amended. Anyway, so she's being charged with all 3 all over again. So that's maddening. And then the judge is just maddening. And it's a whole thing. And it's really scanty evidence. It looks really bad. There was police misconduct. The head investigator for this case has been fired. It's like, why don't they just give it up, Anyway, it makes me really mad. So I don't want to, next time I see Justin Jefferson, I am not going to focus on why he annoys me. I'm going to turn my attitude upside down with Justin Jefferson in the future.
I did not know where you're going with that, Don. I'm glad you brought that back around. What was happening?
I don't like feeling negative about anything. I mean, I know you have to in life. That's okay. But like a person that I don't even know, I don't know why he annoys me. I can't remember. But with that, I think it's time for this week's superlatives. Plus, I needed a little time to look for my apex predator because she was behind me and I didn't know what she was doing.
Gotta keep an eye on that cat. One eye at all time.
I got bird feeders now, and I put them out on her catio so she can. But she doesn't like pounce on the birds. She just like looks at them. It's a thing. But my friends are like, that's really cruel, those poor birds. But no, they don't even know she's there. They can't see inside. Anyway.
I was going to say, is it a bird feeder or is it a cat feeder? But okay, she's not actually pouncing on them.
She can't get out. She can't get out. It's on the outside of her catio, and I built these like 3 extensions, one on each side and one in the middle, so I could hang things. And in the afternoon, I hang disco ball. So, so when the sun hits it and it's all breezy, the whole apartment's like a dance room, and the cat just runs around and chases it. It's how I get her to get her energy out. Yeah. And then I take those down. The bird feeders are there too. So, but in the afternoon, the birds are sleeping. The disco ball, they won't come if the disco ball is there. So I have to take it down, bring it inside. Okay. So like there's a couple hours in the afternoon that this place turns into a disco party. All right, Maddie.
They're not disco birds. They prefer their late classical era chamber music. That's what they're into. None of that disco.
That's right. So, Maddie, I know you have a few superlatives. Yeah. I don't even know if I have one. That's why I've been so chatty.
I'll just start talking then. Yeah.
Let's have it. No, I think I have a couple.
Yeah, my first one is best history. So as we, get excited about the future, what the team's going to be this season for these new players, and think about what's going to happen with like our, our more established veterans, will they be able to stick around to do good things? And we're just all focused on like where things are going. It's good to stop and take a second to look back at the past and where the team has been, where it came from, how it got to be what it is now. When I was just a wee lad, I would often kind of like half watch the Packers games, as my dad mostly fully watched them until the third quarter when he inevitably fell asleep. And I think he often fell asleep when I was little because the Packers weren't very good. But so one of my earlier memories, and I've probably talked about this on the show at some point, but one of my earlier memories is the season when Don Dacquisto was on the team, and had this spark that he brought to it, because he's actually really fun to watch and had some amazing come from behind victories. And I was like, we're winning some games. And then he got us to the Packers' first winning season, and I don't know, it was a couple decades or something really awful like that. So really started to pull the Packers out of obscurity and being the laughing stock of the league. And then after that, when he was injured and Brett Favre came in, of course, then it just started the train that we've been on with the series of amazing quarterbacks who've had great storied careers. But going back to that almost feels like a spark. And I know this is a narrative, and we're just talking about narratives, in the NFL that sometimes are just kind of ridiculous. But you can look at it as being the story of how Don Dacquisto was the spark that ignited things, and then it went from there into full on wildfire, right? And so I saw this great video. This is where I'm going with this. This great video that was from NFL Unveiled, which is not an account I was familiar with, but I started checking their stuff out. There's a lot of really good videos they've made. And the name of the video is The Forgotten QB Who Saved a Dying Franchise. And that's all this on YouTube, of course. Really fun video. Would recommend people check that out, and check out some more of their stuff as well. It was good stuff.
Well, Don Dacquisto was definitely before my time being interested in football for the Packers. But my friend Bonnie, who I've told you about, talks about him And I'm sure my sister knows everything about him. But that's really cool. What is it called again? The channel? The
NFL Unveiled.
Unveiled. I like that. Nice title. Nice
Because they
title.
make content about like, all the different teams. It's not just Packers stuff from them.
Right.
So, yeah.
I would like
Good
that.
stuff
I would
there.
like that.
Check
Okay,
it
I'll
out.
pop in with one.
Go for it.
So I didn't name it. Sorry. I have from The Leap, and it's from not Peter, but Jason Hirschhorn.
Yeah, great writer.
Yeah. And I believe this is only part of it. You have to get the rest of it on their Substack, I believe, unless it's being done in series. But I can't figure it out. But first part of it's great. It's titled "The Packers' 2025 Schedule is Weirder Than You Think."
Okay.
And so he's going into what makes it weird. And so I'm not going to read his article for you, but the first subset, and I'm sure there'll be more, I'm thinking, is Green Bay will face 6 new offensive and defensive coordinators over the team's first 5 games.
Whoa, really? Okay.
Yes. And that could be interesting because you don't know. How do the coaches know what to coach for in the opposition? The tendencies, you don't know the tendencies yet. You don't know a lot.
You don't have as much tape on them at that point.
That's right. So 6 new offensive and defensive coordinators in the first 5 games. So if you don't like the schedule, this is one reason you might be like, that's scary. It is. But I'm still confident. But he goes into some really great detail in that subcategory. So I like that article. And I don't know what to call it. The most weird, I guess.
Best insight? Best weird insight? Best nuggets? Man, Jason Hirschhorn is good for that. Finding like the really interesting facts that nobody else is like, kind of throwing around in the discourse. Underappreciated writer, Jason Hirschhorn. Good stuff.
We don't talk about him very much.
No, we should talk about him more.
Right.
Love that one, Dawn. All right. Starting now. There we go. Should I do my next one?
Yes, please.
All right. Best guest is my next one. So, we love Aaron, Alice, we love Monty, and we love Sam. And, a ways back, the 3 of them did Last Call Lambo together. And then Sam had to leave because I don't even know why she did. She had to for whatever reason. Right. And, every now and then, Dawn, we get lucky and they have Sam on as a guest. And so we got that. I think it was last week. Oh, it's so good. They're so funny together. Like it's always like a reminder of like how good the 3 of them are.
Right.
And so just super fun. I just love it when we get to have Sam on anything really, because she's so hilarious. And I can't help but like clip stuff, almost as stuff that she's saying, because she just does the most outrageous things. And so I just loved that. I feel like even those last week, I'd be remiss not to bring it up because it just gave me such joy.
Yay.
Good stuff.
Love it. I have another one.
Go for it.
Matt LaFleur did an interview with Chris Sims on the Unbuttoned podcast. You may not follow him. He's more of the national, but because it was Matt LaFleur, I had to listen. And he did a very good job, Chris Sims did. And Matt gave away some fun little tidbits about himself that we wouldn't maybe otherwise know. Of course, one criticism I will have is that Chris is like, what did you learn from Kyle? And what about Kyle? And what about Kyle? Like about 3 times, because he is in love with Kyle. What's his name? That guy from the 49ers. But other than that, which was a little annoying, he did a great job. And it was just a fun side of Matt LaFleur that I hadn't seen before. And he's done a lot of interviews this off season on lots of different channels, but I just caught this one and I really liked it for the more personal side of things. And I will say Chris Sims, for he really does talk about Matt LaFleur being super underrated and super great. And he had questions, of course, about how the transition from, what's his name, to Jordan Love.
Forget his name. I don't know.
That other quarterback. that other Hall of Fame quarterback. We just toss them around at Green Bay. Anyway, but it was more than that. There were some other questions in there that I hadn't heard anyone asking before, so it was good.
I would definitely check that out because a lot of Matt LaFleur, I feel like on a microphone is like he's gotten into full coach talk a lot of the time, where it's just like it's not showing any cards, and he's kind of seems really buttoned down. So I'll check that out.
Yeah, a cute little tidbit about Sirianni and Howie Roseman, and that Matt sits next to Howie Roseman. Not sure why, but at the it's the owners meeting that they go to right every year where the coaches go.
Up with that, yeah, and the owners,
For some reason, he sits next to Howie. Yeah. By the way, did you hear about the whole tush push thing that they've changed? That other teams have said, hey, why don't we just take no pushing at all out? Take pushing out of the game because it doesn't belong there.
It's more rugby than football.
Right. Pushing in general. And so I guess a lot of teams are pro that. And so there's another meeting, and I think it's just the owners, if I'm not mistaken, before this season ends. And so if they take a vote on it, they would need 2/3. They wouldn't need just a simple majority. I think they'd have to have 2/3, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me though, because they might not have that. But they need more than just half. So so no pushing, and then that would take care of the whole tush push thing. Right. Which is why Chris was asking him about whether or not how his relationship was with Sirianni, because they obviously want to keep it.
Interesting.
I'd be all and I don't have a name for that either. Most off the wall, because Chris Sims is kind of off. Most unbuttoned.
There you go. There it is. All right. Well, I have two more. Should I just get to both of them, or?
Yeah.
All right. Well, my second to last one then is best feels. So, of course, we all know Tom Grassi got to do one of the, announce one of the picks in the draft. It was awesome. I think it was in the 7th round, if I remember correctly. And of course, he and Johnny Barks, his Sancho Pancho, from Don Quixote. What's the guy's name? Pancho Sanchez. Is that what it is? Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying. His sidekick.
Probably Sanchez. No.
See, now I'm wondering about the two. What is it actually? Okay, anyhow. So Johnny Barks, who is awesome, who is an amazing human being, friend of the show, both of them. So they made a video about it. That's what I'm trying to say, Don. That was a lot of me like spewing words just to say they made a video about the whole experience, and it was, remembering back to the 30 and 30 videos, and then the World Tour videos. It had that same exact feel that it's like Sancho Panza. Thank you, Joe. That was,
it is. Okay.
It's like, it's funny, and it's like heartfelt, and it's sincere, and it makes you maybe like tear up a little bit. And then you laugh again, and it's like kind of like and it's soaring and epic, and so it's all the things at once. And they just nail it. They just nail it with like making the videos just so good. So they made one about Tom Grassi doing the pick. Teared up a little bit watching it, got really excited, and just sat there going, man, I love these guys. They're out there doing this awesome stuff. They make great content, and they're just trying to make the world a better place, through like the charity Tom's doing, of course. And just love those guys so much,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it's Sancho Panza. For some reason, that doesn't sound right. I thought it was something else.
I knew it was something like I almost had it. So yeah, Joe coming in clutch for us. Appreciate that, man.
And Mark says, it's spring meeting. It's next week. Okay, so it's coming up. So we have a vote. Yes. So something could still happen. Not counting on it, but it could happen. And Mark's coming in with the deets here. 237 was the Grassi pick. That's right.
All right. Yes. So I do have one more superlative then. Okay. So we yesterday with all the social media around the schedule reveal, there's lots of versions of like these this team's opponents for the year, like a thread, like opponents as Pop-Tarts, as whatever else.
Right.
One year our friend Emma did it as pictures of Pedro Pascal, which was excellent, by the way.
Right.
That. But the one of all those that I thought was the best was Cheesehead TV put one together that was each of the Packers opponents hears us like getting an interception on them. So it's just like interception after interception of the different teams we're playing from like past games. That was juicy. It was meaty. I loved it.
I bet.
Made me happy just to watch a series of those, scrolling through those. So,
put it on.
Nice concept.
Yeah, that's smart. I would get too excited too. I'm trying to like not get too excited lately. I get too excited. It'll be like, when is November? No, October. When is it October? Right? I want
September even.
True.
August for preseason. Go crazy.
It's not that far.
Sure. Only 2.5 months. It's only 2.5 months. Okay, it's not that far. You're right.
But look at how far we've come. Like from the Super Bowl to waiting for the draft, all that time. So we've made it halfway there. Yeah,
that's right. There you go. I love the perspective.
And your final. Oh, that was it. Cheesehead TV gets the
fresh out of the superlatives now. There it is.
I like it. Did they put that on Blue Sky or just Twitter?
I don't remember. I think it is out there on Blue Sky as well. I think it is because they've been pretty good about posting there too.
Yes. Like I said, I was off for like 2 weeks. Dealing with my what you're hopefully not going to have when you get your cold is hopefully just going to be a little 2 days. Not what happened to me. But like yesterday when I was gone and so the schedule came out, I wasn't waiting for it because I wasn't home. And so I got home shortly after and I was looking on Blue Sky. It's like, where's the schedule? There wasn't any schedule. I mean, I couldn't see it. I did a search and I'm like, oh. But I posted it. I'm like, well, I didn't find it anywhere, so I'll put it here for anybody.
There you go. That works,
But I had to go to the website and all that, which is fine if I have to do it. But yeah, I wish the teams would up their Blue Sky game a little bit.
Or just do it at all on Blue Sky. I mean, that's the thing is because, Wes Hawkins talked about this one time. In order for the NFL teams to do Blue Sky, it's a whole process because you have to have it, cleared through the team, through the league, to do any of that stuff. So it's, I think it hasn't, as far as the teams in the league goes, I think they just haven't seen the cost benefit analysis of actually like wading into those waters, especially because like for as much of a train wreck as Twitter has become, like it's still, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of eyes on their stuff through there. So I don't feel like they probably don't feel like the need to go through the hassle of being able to really start using Blue Sky at all. But I was going to say, I can confirm now. I looked really fast, and the Cheesehead TV stuff I was talking about, since it was, also posted in YouTube, Aaron Nagler did post the link to it on Blue Sky, which I actually already reposted. So it is there to be seen. Aaron Nagler's been good on Blue Sky. He's good about like posting on that stuff. So appreciate that, Aaron.
We do. We appreciate that very much. Thank you. Well, Maddie, any final thoughts before we wrap it up for the next 2 weeks?
No, I guess I just would say a strategy I've found that I think is working well for me is because we have all these like, deep dive podcasts on the players. I have them all loaded in sequence on my, my queue for my podcasts. I've listened to more than half of them from Andy, and a bunch of other ones as well, but I have them in the bottom of my queue because that way, as like the podcasts that I want to listen to that are more, immediate, I can put them in the top. And then as I kind of work through those, I'll get to like another deep dive from another, another podcaster. So having that kind of like as the stuff that kind of shows up after I get to like the more recent stuff, because that, that's not as time-based. We could be listening to the deep dives on these players, in August and still get a lot out of them as much as we get out of them now. So that is a strategy I've found works for me actually every year at this time. Put those deep dives at the bottom of the queue. They'll pop up as other stuff kind of gets as you get through this stuff, and try it out. See what you think.
I like that. Pro tip
from pro listeners,
from professional podcast listeners. Like, I know mine are just like all over the place, but I like that. You can organize them too. Yeah. I mean, I organize mine on YouTube. Yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't listen to the podcast on YouTube. It's still not quite there yet. I do listen to a lot of them that way, but it's not quite. Maybe I'm just haven't figured it out yet. But as far as the cue goes and the order and all that, you know how to do it on Spotify a lot easier. So, well, that's a great final thought, Maddie. Let's wrap her up, and we'll be back in a couple weeks, right? So until then,
Until then, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.